for the listeners out there, you can download the SEN app on the App Store. You can head to Spotify, Apple. Make sure to subscribe. 11:70 in Sydney. We've got 16:20 on the Gold Coast and 10:53 in Brisbane. Queensland listeners listening via SENQ on DAB+. But as I said, if you want to listen to the podcast a bit later, pause it, all that good stuff, Apple and Spotify, you can follow the Captain's Run and give at SEN League a follow on Instagram, the brand new place to get all your rugby league news. It's a great new initiative from SEN. They're really, really providing some good content on Instagram. So at SEN League. But Smithy, mate, look, the latest news, there's news coming from all over the shop, but let's get into the biggest story of the week last week, now this week. Ricky Stuart. Now, I know you've probably already spoken about this.
A few times.
It's a really interesting one because part of me wants to say he's apologised, he's been punished, let's all move on.
Yep.
But then I think of the Salmon family and I'm like, ooh, they don't get to move on that quickly. What are your thoughts on the whole situation now that it's simmered down a little bit?
Well, with the Salmon family situation, are they still seeking some legal advice?
I'm not sure
on the situation.
I'm not sure.
Well, that was the sort of news at the start of this week, so I think that's always an option for them. Because without a doubt, it's defamation. Every day of the week. So watch his space on that point of it. But I was shocked, Kempy. I was really shocked. I don't know how you felt about it, but I was extremely shocked when I heard the comments from Ricky. We've all seen him, have his say in post-match press conferences, and at times he certainly has pushed the boundaries as far as comments and remarks around officials and what happened on the game and all that sort of stuff. But, yeah, that was just a clear crossing of the line. Like, you just don't go there in that forum. He's said as much in the days post the comments that he made that it was the wrong thing to do. And, now he's copped a week for it. I thought that was quite light, to be honest. 1 week, fairly significant fine involved, $25,000. It's a lot of money. But, I actually thought it was going to be more around a minimum of, say, 2 weeks suspension from the club.
Yeah, mate. I was, look, 1 week, I can be like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But I agree. I think I would have probably landed around the two-week mark. Look, I think 1 week is reasonable. I agree with you, though. I think the key for me is look, if I'm being honest, I used to enjoy his blow-ups. Like, I really did. Like, as a footy fan, I thought it was great that we had this guy that, okay, yeah, sometimes he crossed the line. But I think the key for me was always it was about the football with professionals. So
that's right. Whether
he's having a crack at the refs or whoever it was, they're professionals, they're a part of the game, and he's having his opinion on that situation. And that's where I can go, you know what? I kind of like the passion. I like the fact that he's willing to say it the way he feels, whether it's right or wrong. I think, as you said, the line is when it's not in football.
That's right.
And once you get across that line, it's a no-go zone. Now, I think the reason why I'm a bit surprised he only got 1 week was because he obviously has form. He's got, I think it's $160,000 worth of fines now.
Yep.
But I will say, I'm still, even though I would have thought around the 2 weeks, I'm still happy with a week. His team is in a very crucial point in the season right now. They need to win every single game, pretty much. They need to win 3 or 4, and they need other people to lose, I think, 2 games. So I'm relatively happy with it. I don't think it's an outrage that he only got a week, but no. I probably would have landed around the 2 week mark.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm along the lines of you. I just thought 1 was a bit light. I was expecting 2, but yeah, it's 1 week and he's now not at the club. Like, you got to remember, it's different to a player where they can go in and train and even be at the game. Ricky Stuart has been told he can't have any contact with the players. He can't go to the club. He can't be around training. Can't be at the game. I don't think he can return to training until next Wednesday.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, it's a lengthy time out of or away, separated from the team. As being the head coach, particularly at this part of the year, like, it's a really important time for them. As you said, they're not in the 8 at the moment. They're looking for an opportunity to get in there. I still think they will. We'll probably touch on that a little bit later, but I think they will. They got to out of all the teams sort of in the 8 or even searching for a position in the 8, they've got the softest run.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it was like if they could have got the win on the weekend, it would have set them up so good.
Yep.
Also, I think that the NRL made a point to say that he will be personally paying the fine.
Rather than the club.
Paying
Raiders.
it, which I tell you what, 25 grand stings a lot if you're paying it. Wow, that's a lot of cash. A lot of cash.
He's got plenty, Ricky. Plenty.
Now, let's get on to. So, yeah, as I said, it's been done. Obviously, the Salmon family, they've keep dealing with it. But from a perspective of, like, speaking about Ricky and everything he's done, I hope we kind of move on as a game kind of thing after this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sends a I think it's the first of its kind, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I've never seen anything like it in any sport.
I can remember, and you and I have only sort of been watching and following football. I'm 40, you're 30 something.
I'm 25.
Well, I've been sort of listening and watching coaches talk for about, let's say, 30 years. And how long are you? 20 years?
Well, I retired when I was 16.
There's people out there that have been following the game much longer than us. Let's put it that way. And it's the first time you and I have seen anything like it. Let's hope we don't see any more coaches going down that personal sort of attack route
for sure.
in NRL post-match press conferences again.
Now, the Isaiah Papali'i situation just seems to, the smoke keeps rising. It keeps rising. There hasn't really been, there's been conflicting comments from Isaiah Papali'i. Yeah. On one side, he said, I can't wait to work with Benji and Robbie.
Yes.
And then on the other side, he refuses to commit, as in to say, I will be there next year.
Okay.
Yeah, basically he said that I'm dealing with footy right now. I'll deal with anything else at the end of the year.
Okay.
Which definitely means in my opinion that he's definitely
there's question marks.
It's question marks around the situation. Look, I personally think, regardless of who's going to be the coach, if you sign a contract to an organisation, I believe you should honour it. But what do you think about the whole situation with Isaiah Papali'i?
It's a difficult one because, again, I tend to agree with you. I think if you sign a contract, I think you need to uphold that agreement. But you can understand where Isaiah Papali'i is coming from because I believe he signed that contract with the West Tigers in the belief that Michael Maguire was going to be the coach. So a huge part in decision making is going when you're signing with a football side is because of the coach. You're not necessarily just signing with that club. There's reasons why you make decisions to leave a certain club to go to another one. Sometimes it's a financial decision.
Yep.
Sometimes it's an opportunity to win a premiership. But if you're going there to win a premiership, usually you're going there because of the coach as well, because he's going to give you that opportunity to win a premiership or be the best player you can be. And I believe that's one of the main reasons why Isaiah Papali'i was going to the Tigers is because he believed Michael Maguire was going to be there. Now, he's since been removed from that position. So the situation has changed for Isaiah Papali'i. So I can understand why he's now having some question marks over whether he should leave or not. But there is a contract in place, but history shows, particularly over the last 5 or 6 years, these contracts don't really mean a whole heap.
Holy moly! Yeah, and it's interesting. And one of the arguments that people have put forward, I guess it'd probably be people that aren't Tigers fans, but to be fair, they did break Madge's contract. They both agreed, so it wasn't a breaking by one party. Like Madge would have had to agree to the settlement to walk away.
Yeah.
But they did probably, it seems like they approached Madge and said, mate, we want out. And so, some people say, well, it's a bit rich for them to expect, to be upset if Papali'i breaks his contract when you guys literally just got rid of your coach. And so it's such a complicated one. I personally still think that if you sign the contract you're a professional, you're getting paid a lot of cash to go there, a lot of cash. I'll put it this way. If, let's say he goes there with Madge and they go terribly and Madge gets sacked mid-season, does he just go, all right, I'm out?
I'm out.
Yeah. So, I can see both sides of the argument. Now, someone brought up a good point. Is there is there, a world, and you probably have a better understanding of how it all works, is there a world where the NRL could kind of step in and say you can't backflip on contracts and kind of enforce, contracts to go through?
I'm not sure, Kempy. I don't know, because I think that then goes down the path of maybe a restraint of trade to say that you can't break a contract, because these contracts in real world happen all the time, like breaking of contracts. You may have a contract with a certain company in a certain industry, and then you're not happy in that situation, and there might be a mutual decision to move on, and that contract is then ended, and you go start another contract with another company, another rival company.
Yeah.
There's obviously clauses in place around those changing of employment, but I don't think the NRL can say once you sign a contract, that is it.
Yeah, no,
you
I
cannot
agree.
get out.
Yeah, I agree too, because then it goes to the point of like, okay, well, what if a club wants to move a coach on or a player on? It's like, then they can't break it. So, no, I agree. It was just something kind of brought in. I will say, though, it costs heaps to break your phone contract. That's for sure. Can we talk about that? NRL, can you get onto the phone companies? You're send me broke.
What happened?
No, I mean, I'm scarred. It was years ago. I'm loyal now.
Okay.
I'm just talking about 10 years ago when I was like struggling to buy noodles on the shelf and I had to pay me contract out. But back to the footy.
It'll be a difficult one, mate, because I think you see it more and more now, because I just think back to when we were younger. I don't remember seeing like coaches moved on as frequently as we do now. Because there's so much pressure on results. Yeah. And there's a lot of corporate money being put into the game now and into clubs. These sponsors and people tipping money into these organisations, the clubs of the NRL, they want results. So there's a lot of pressure on the administration and the board to make decisions around the football team, and that includes not just the playing group, getting the right playing group, but it's having the right coach there. So we've seen how many coaches over the last, even just 2 seasons,
mate. It's been so hectic.
Moved on, resold.
Well, it's kind of been so hectic that the coaching pool is revealed how shallow it is.
Yeah.
Right now there's clubs that would be keen on a new coach, and there's literally just no one there.
There's no one there. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's why we find ourselves in this situation with Isaiah Papali'i, is because it's happening so often now with coaches being moved on halfway through the year, when they may have signed, let's just say 2 or 3 players, and those players of the belief that current coach is going to be there when they turn up the following year. So I think that's why we're seeing more and more times now where players go, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
I don't want to go.
Do you think they need to change the November 1st date to make it like, so you can't sign a whole year out from your end of your contract? Or is that just going to make it harder to manage salary caps?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. It's probably 6 one, half a dozen the other there.
Yeah.
It's a long way out for players to sign down the track, and then a lot of things can change as we, particularly with the coaching situation we just mentioned, but also I think clubs are trying to get on top of like their salary cap stuff as well, just to make sure that they're all ready to go.
9 coaches have been sacked since the start of 2020.
Well, there you go.
Holy.
And there's only 16 teams in the comp. So that's a lot.
Wow.
Over two seasons. Well, we're not even done in 2022. So, yeah.
Well, when was the last coach let go? It was Madge, wasn't it? So basically 1.5 years.
Oh, Nathan Brown.
Yeah, well, then that was halfway through the year. So you're looking at 1.5 seasons. Wow. Anyway, we're going to head to the break. I'm not going to let you marinate on that. That's a big stat to marinate on. I tell you what, if you're driving in your car, 9 coaches, 1.5 seasons. Wow. Now, after the break, we're going to talk about, will this have effect, Ricky's situation with the Raiders versus the Dragons? Obviously, the Raiders are playing to make the 8. Also, we're going to talk about, the preview of the round. We're going to talk about the Australian, a few Smokies for the Australian side. Make sure to call in 1300 01 1170. Give us a call 0457 736 736, and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. We just watched Smithy miss a conversion on the Fox League Classic match. He doesn't miss many.
Oh, hit the left upright.
Oh, no,
Come
Smithers.
on, Smith.
He doesn't miss many. Now, let's get back to the show. Download the app, SEN app, but also you can subscribe to the Captain's Run on Spotify and Apple. Give us a call, 1300 01 1170, or give us a text 0457 736 736. Now, we've got a caller here. We've got John from Harrington Park. How you going, John?
G'day, boys. Hey, Denham. Hey, Cameron.
Hey, John.
How are you?
Going good, mate. What do you got for
guys,
us?
what I'm ringing up about, can players, these clauses in contracts, is it about time that some of them go? Like, what I'm going on about is Isaiah was going to the Tigers knowing that they weren't going too well at the time, that, people were saying that Michael Maguire might not see out the year or whatever when he signed the contract. Could he have put a clause in there to say, it's null and void if Michael Maguire's sacked?
You can
Possibly.
You can have essentially any
Yeah.
clause you want if they agree to it.
You can have a clause in there like that one, John, if the club allows it, I guess, as part of the agreement. You can have pretty much any clause you want to if both parties agree to it and are both aware of it. I'm not sure whether that was in there. I don't think that's been brought up at all.
Cam, if you're a club down the bottom of the table and you know that your coaches may be on borrowed time, you're not going to want a clause like that put in. If you've got a good player that signed up for because he was getting big money,
Yeah, that's right.
you don't want that clause in there.
Yeah, no,
You don't
exactly.
want that clause in
No,
there,
you're
do you?
right, John. I agree with you. If you're the West Tigers, no, I agree with you. Particularly if you've got a little bit of inside information that you're trying to get the coach out of there, which they would have had. Like they would have had some idea, I believe, that that things weren't working with Michael Maguire and that they had some small idea that was not going to be the situation in 2023, that he was going to be the head coach. So I agree with you. I think the club would be quite reluctant to do that. But if they weren't certain that they were going to sack him and they were really, really keen on getting Isaiah Papali'i, and that was really the thing standing in the way, I dare say that they'd just agree to that clause and say, let's at least get him to sign, and he may not take up that clause if we are to get rid of Michael Maguire.
Yeah, but they, and also lost my train of thought very quickly though. But obviously he's been offered. Obviously Parramatta have freed up some money. Because why wouldn't he have stayed there in the first place then?
Well,
They've obviously freed up money, so he's going to get more money to stay at Parramatta now. Or if he goes wherever else, he's going to get probably roughly the same as he was going to get at the Tigers.
Yeah, well, we don't know that situation, do we? We don't know. We don't know whether the Parramatta have come up with more money, or he just feels as though, look, I think it's best for my football that I stay, and I'm happy to stay for a little bit less than what I was getting at West Tigers or what I was offered at West Tigers. We don't know that situation. But yeah, I guess it's watch this space.
Mate, thank you.
Thanks for listening to me.
Good on you, John.
Thanks, John. Appreciate the call, mate. Brought some great points. Now we've actually got Luke. Luke, you there, mate, on the phone?
Hey, Denham, how you going?
Very good, thanks,
How
mate.
are you, Luke?
Yeah, very well, Cameron. Thank you very much. Just obviously, the guy stole my thunder just then. The thing I had a problem with is the fact that you can sign a contract so far in advance.
Yeah.
And so when it comes time to honour that contract, the landscape's completely changed regarding salary cap, regarding your form, so your worth. All those things come into it. And that was an RLPA thing that they wanted to be able to do, to sign contracts so far in advance. And now I find it a bit hard that Clint Newton is asking Papali'i to honour his contract when Parramatta, they obviously wanted to keep Papali'i. There's no doubt about that. They couldn't afford it, salary cap restraints. They said, sorry, mate, we haven't got the money. And I remember when he had to let Brad Arthur know that he was leaving, he was pretty upset about the whole thing. But now things have changed. They've got the money. Papali'i doesn't want to go to the Tigers, but it's only because he signed the contract so far in advance that situation's changed. So the Rugby League Players Association, I assume that they wanted those rules in place today regarding being able to sign so far in advance?
Yeah, I think they did, and I think the NRL and a lot of particularly fans they've asked for this rule to be changed is because I think fans they really dislike how, say, Isaiah Papali'i, like he signed 12 months in advance, like they're watching a player represent their club knowing that he's leaving. So there's always like all that needs to happen is that player to have an off week, Kempy, and just maybe not play as well as they know they can play, and then the question marks start coming up. Oh, like, is he committed? Does he really want to be here? So I guess it's a little bit unfair on the fans. It can be quite unfair on the players too. But I think that was pushed by the RLPA to say, listen, we want to give these players an opportunity to start preparing for like their move. So, you know, sorting out accommodation, sorting out maybe schooling for their children, some work for their partners, and yeah. So rather than being last minute and then having to organise all of that stuff, say in the space of maybe 2 or 3 weeks, they wanted to be able to give them an opportunity. And I don't know whether that Kempy, you asked the question before. I don't know whether November 1 needs to be moved to maybe, I don't know, June the following year.
Yeah.
So it's a bit closer. You know what I mean? But then there's always going to be an issue with that because whenever it's so far out, or even if you move it to June, leading into the following season, then fans will be like, "Wow, we're in the middle of this season's campaign. We're doing so well, and our halfback's off contract, and he signed somewhere else."
And there's all this hubbub around negotiations.
That's right.
And half our team, like for example, let's say let's say they did put it to June 1st, or June 1st, or June 30, or whatever it was. There'd be a lot of clubs that would have like 5 or 6 blokes in the depths of negotiations. And I think another reason for why they moved to November 1st was to try to make the negotiations be not as, I guess, how many times have we seen in yesteryear?
Interruptive,
yeah. In yesteryear, contract negotiations were crazy. Yeah. Like, it's coming around finals footy. And anyway, I think personally, Luke, is that like, okay, you've got this one guy that may backflip, he may not backflip, but I think for all the positives it brings, we have to weigh out like, okay, we've got one guy, but how many other guys move, guys and girls move, and it's a positive for their life. You know, have to really weigh up. Does this one guy or one guy season backflipping outweigh the positive of 50 guys and girls being able to move, at a nice pace, not being stressed on the family or the kids or anything like that. So, but yeah, thanks for the call, Luke. Really appreciate it, mate.
No worries, Liz.
Now we've got Sati from Melbourne. You there, mate?
We got you, Sati.
Can you hear me?
Got you, mate.
Yeah, hey mate. Just as a Melbourne Storm fan, happy that the club signed Ali Katoa. I can't believe the Warriors let him go.
Yeah.
And that's just and just your thoughts, boys. I was thinking for the Warriors, why don't they do a combine and they can pick homegrown players, and the rest of the 15 other teams can't pick anyone until the Warriors have picked their team. You know what I mean? Because the last time they were in the grand final, 2002, 80% of them were Kiwi players. And you had, guys like Kevin, Campion and all those blokes, PJ Marsh, just leaders. And in 2011, they had a few Aussies there, but most of them were Kiwi players. Because the Warriors, they have to be the worst team at developing, the worst club at developing a team at the moment, the last decade. That's just my opinion. I don't know what you boys think.
Yeah, well, they're up against like rugby unions. You got to remember, like rugby union is the number one game in New Zealand. So a lot of the kids, nearly every kid that grows up in New Zealand is playing rugby in school. I know there are certain parts of New Zealand that tend to play more rugby league, but it's so dominated by union, and the opportunity to be an All Black, I think, is massive in New Zealand. Now, I've never lived there. Kemper, you've lived there for a little bit, so you could expand on this a bit more, but I think that's probably the number one thing that young kids look at when they're playing any form of rugby, whether it be league or union, is they want to be an All Black. So for starters, they're up against that. And then secondly, I think it really has diminished like their development opportunities over the last couple of years being in Australia. I really do. And I think we'll see the effects of the Warriors going back home, being based in New Zealand from the end of this year. I really think we'll see an improvement in their development and young guys coming through over the next, let's say, 5 seasons.
Mate, totally agree. Now, we have to head to the news. After the news, though, I'll give my answers on the topic. Thanks for calling, Sati. Really appreciate it, mate. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Now, just on what Sati was saying in regards to the Warriors' development, really interesting because when you look at the New Zealand side right now, you can clearly see the talent is there. On paper, I would say the New Zealand side is as good as the Australian side. So I think that that's evidence of if the NRL put a bit of money into...
The Kiwis we're talking about. The
Kiwis.
The national side.
Yeah, the international. So apologies.
Yes.
The Kiwi international side. Now, on the flip side of that is that I think that I'm pretty sure no Warriors were in the New Zealand side that played recently. If not no, it was like minimum. And so the talent is absolutely there. Even what's crazy is even though rugby union is the number one sport over there and it's All Blacks, they still have enough talent to be able to compete with Australia at a high level.
Yeah.
And so my argument would be if the NRL does want to expand into New Zealand and it does want to try to, make a second team there or whatever, it needs to invest into development of New Zealand. It needs to go and look at, okay, how do we put things in place to stop every club from picking the best young players in New Zealand and bringing them over early? Now, obviously, you don't want to restrict opportunity. There are some young Kiwis that just want to come to Australia, and that should be fine. But we need to make it so it's super enticing. Enticing? Is that a word? I don't even know this word. Enticing. Wow. I'm a radio host, guys. You can do anything. If I can be a radio host, I can barely speak. You can do anything in your life. But enticing.
Yep.
They need to make it really enticing for young Kiwis to say, no, I want to stay in New Zealand and I want to play for the Kiwis. And that way, if they keep the best of the best, if New Zealand keep the best of the best that are Kiwis, I'm telling you, they will absolutely terrorise the competition.
Yeah.
And so that's my opinion. I think the NRL needs to win. I know it might be seen as an unfair advantage in quotation, but if we want to expand this game, we need to make sure that the Kiwis have an incentive to stay in New Zealand and play footy.
Well, talking about the Kiwis and how strong they are, they're ranked higher than the Kangaroos right now.
Yep.
Like in the world rankings of rugby league.
And yet the Warriors are struggling. And yes, that I totally appreciate they've been away for 2 years. I agree, it's a big reason.
Yeah.
But
well, I think that's the point that Sati was making too, is that, okay, so the Kiwis, the international side, are really strong right now, and they've got a great playing group and representation across the NRL, but there's hardly any New Zealand players, like New Zealand-born players, playing for the Warriors.
It's New Zealand internationals playing for the Warriors. No, it's and like a guy like Katoa, I think he come from Tonga, rugby union, but like they should be able to keep guys like that, and they should be able to get the best out of guys like that. And what's I guess frustrating for Kiwis fans, and every club deals with this. I'm sure the Tigers, I'm sure the Doggies, even the Broncos when we were struggling the last couple of years, is that as soon as he signs with the Storm, everyone goes, oh man, he's going to be good. And it's like, that's the difference in development. That's the difference in systems, in my opinion anyway.
Well, I think that's the challenge for the Warriors then, is to be able to build an organisation, a place, an environment where local talent want to be. Okay, so if an opportunity comes up to play at Melbourne, people, what do players do? They jump at it. Like, Melbourne want to sign me. I'll go down there.
Adam Dewey wanted to go down there. He's the leader of the Tigers.
Yeah, so he's come out and said, I would have loved to have gone down there. Yeah. He said that. He's quoted as saying that.
It's the one thing in my career I wish that I could have experienced. So that's how.
Yeah. So maybe if you're a club like the Warriors or the West Tigers, and I know it's easier said than done. Okay, I'm not just saying just go out and click your fingers and this will happen, but maybe that's what you need to do. To try and entice young players coming through, like your young guns, even established players that are in top handfuls of their position in the NRL. If you want to entice them to your club, create an environment where players want to be at. They want to be a part of that, so they go, yeah, you know what, I want to go play for the Warriors. I want to go play for the West Tigers. Start creating that environment. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
it's not about who's your coach. How much you're going to pay me. Sure, that comes into account. But I think on the most part, it's about an environment that they're a part of where they know they can get the best out of themselves and they're going to win footy games.
Well, we look at Gus Gould, and I think it was Peter O'Sullivan. Was he at the Storm for a bit, Peter
It
O'Sullivan?
was a little bit, yep.
They were at the Warriors for, what, a year?
Mm-hmm.
And they managed to sign, and so it shows it can happen. When Gus Gould and that were involved in the Warriors, they definitely had the pull to get players to the club. So really interesting time for the Warriors. And just to be clear, though, I was at the Warriors, and the admin, the club, is incredible. Matter of fact, I would argue when I was there, their admin and how much they cared about their players was up as good, if not better, than other clubs that I'd been at.
Okay.
Like, for example, Broncos, they cared, but it was a much more like we didn't really have much. We had a
association.
Exactly. It was a bit of a distance between us and the admin.
Okay.
And I guess when I was there, the feeling was we want you not to hear about the admin. We want to run the ship so smoothly.
Okay.
Yous are out there to play footy.
Okay.
Actually, we used to have this thing above when we ran out is basically we'll provide you with everything that you need. All you need is a good attitude.
Okay.
And that was the mantra at Broncos. Whereas the mantra at Warriors was very family orientated. Like anything you need, call anyone. My phone's available. So the club,
That's great.
It's a great club.
I've actually heard that as well.
Yeah.
From guys like Brent Tate and Steve Price, Nathan Friend, Ryan Hoffman, all people that I know have gone over and played there. They've all said the same thing. So great club. Just need to get some talent there and start building some local talent, which is I think where our listeners are saying. And we got a text here too, Kempy, from Kiwi Merkin. Said, "Morning, fellas. On SENZ Drive last night, there was talk of Isaiah Papali'i talking to the Warriors. Apparently, he wants to head home on compassionate grounds. His girlfriend plays netball in New Zealand."
Be interesting because he come from the Warriors and he was struggling for form at the Warriors, and look what he did.
Oh,
now
he exploded.
maybe he's a much more mature man now, and he'll take back the standards in which he was able to develop personally.
Oh, he's a fantastic player. Like, he's the best back row in the comp last year.
Unbelievable. He's so good. He's so good, and he's so consistent.
There you go, Warriors.
So that's exciting times. Exciting times. Now, the battle for the top 8, it rages on. Do you think, Smithy, that the top 8 will change dramatically? Now, it's as crazy as the Broncos could drop out of the 8, but they could also finish as high as, I think, 4th.
Yep.
Do you think the top 8 changes as to what it is now?
I'll give you a quick little rundown. I've seen this this graph online, Kempy. So Panthers, they're locked. They can't drop out of top 4, okay? So don't worry about them. Cowboys, best they can finish is 1st, worst 8th. Let's just see, with these, there's only 4 games to go, but listen to this. Cronulla, best finish 1st, worst 8th. So they're in. They're both in.
Yep.
Storm, highest they can finish 2nd, they can drop out into 10th.
Wow.
Eels, same thing. 2nd, 10th. Rabbits, 2nd, 11th. Broncos, 2nd, 11th. Roosters, 2nd, 11th. And then Raiders, they can finish in the top 4, believe it or not. More than likely won't happen, but I'm just saying scenarios here. 4th or 14th. Okay, Manly, 5th, 14th. The Dragons can still make it. They can finish 5th.
How good's that?
Or 14th. So there's only 5 teams that can't make the top 8 now. So that's the Doggies, the Knights, Warriors, Tigers, and Titans. They're all done. But the rest of the competition are still fighting for semi-finals berth.
I love it.
It's just amazing.
I love it. And compared to last year,
it
the standard was
done.
terrible.
It was crazy. But anyway, some really, really important games this weekend that we'll get into with our preview. But all kicks off tonight. The 2 big dogs.
Ooh, cannot wait. Now, I want to ask you, is it safe to rule out Raiders, Dragons, Seagulls from the finals contention? Is it safe?
Oh, you know what? I'm not ruling out the Raiders. There's no way. There's no way. Even with Ricky Stuart not there for a week, I'm not ruling out the Raiders at all.
Because they could go 4 from 4. They're above every team that they play for the rest of the season. Considering Canberra, this is their remaining games. St. George, Newcastle, Manly, West Tigers. They're all bottom 8 sides. Yep.
Compared to, say, a run like Parramatta, who take on the Rabbitohs. Then they got the Bulldogs, but
Bulldogs are playing well. Nearly beat Cowboys.
Yeah. Broncos, Storm. Storm have got Penrith, Broncos, Roosters, Parramatta.
Oh my God. Roosters have got a pretty heavy
And,
run
and then
as
the
well.
Roosters, I was going to mention the Roosters. They got Cowboys, West Tigers, Storm, Bunnies.
Ouch.
So a lot of these teams fighting for positions in
will lose points.
the top 8. Well, they're playing each other.
Yeah, so they have to lose points.
So, like, there's no way. Like, apart from, like, Penrith, okay, they win tonight. I think that all but seals a minor premiership.
Mm.
They're locked for the top 4. I say North Queensland. Look, well, not guaranteed, but they got Chooks, Warriors, Rabbits, Penrith to finish with at home. Like, so
How exciting.
I'm sort of thinking Penrith, North Queensland, and Cronulla, I'd say are sort of safe for top 4.
Mm.
But outside of that, like, depending on results, there could be so much change in this top 8.
It's
so
super
much
exciting.
change.
It's super exciting. Now, I just want to talk to you quickly, Smithy. The Cam Munster at fullback. Oh, mate, how good was that? Is there a world, I know it might sound crazy, but is there a world that, once you get Hughes back, he stays there for the rest of the year?
I thought he would have been there this week.
I thought he would too.
Yeah.
Just keep him there. Because,
Yeah.
we speak about it on the Monday podcast a little bit, but as a defender, what am I more scared of? Munster at 6, where I know where he is and I know where he's lining up, or Munster popping up anywhere and I have to be ready for it?
Yeah. Well, he gets a look at more opportunities, doesn't he, when he's playing fullback? He can, as you mentioned, he can roam the field and he can just pop up where he feels he needs to be. But I was a little bit surprised. I thought he would have kept him there. I think the only reason he's gone back to 6 is because of Jerome Hughes.
Yeah.
And his injury and not being there.
I need someone to lead around the park.
But in saying that, like, he's not an organiser.
Do you reckon they'll ask him to do that, though?
Yeah, but
he's just
they
not.
can ask him, but he won't do it. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. Hey, I know. If anyone knows.
That job will be for Cooper Johns. He doesn't he'll try.
Yeah.
But then
That's not his
it
strength.
takes away from his natural game.
Yeah,
because
for
he's
sure.
worried about organising and directing, the team and where to go. I think without Jerome Hughes there, that falls more on Harry Grant and Cooper Johns.
Well, I feel like the year that you went, I think it was 2019 maybe, where you bounced out loss.
Yeah, no, yeah,
And
yes.
and I think that was because you were trying to rely on
We went
Munster.
loss, win, loss.
Oh, sorry.
We lost to Canberra,
Yep.
then beat Parramatta,
Oh, yeah.
and then we lost to Roosters.
And that was a year where, because Hughes had just come in,
He just got swapped into 7 like in the last maybe month.
and Munster was trying to lead the boys around, but it was just, okay. Yeah, no, I mean, the Mad Dog Munster, you want him just free. You want his mind free.
Oh, it's not the craziest idea at all. And I'd actually love to see him at fullback.
So exciting. Now, we're going to head to a break, but after the break, we got best hands thanks to Schnitz. See you on the other side.
Time now to break down the best hands in the NRL. Thanks to Schnitz, the best hands in the schnitzel business.
Welcome back to the Captain's Run. I just want to get a quick text out here. Boys, Broncos won't make the 8. You heard it here first. Ryan, I don't want none of that negative energy, mate. I want some positive energy. Broncos to stay in the 8. But let's get into best hands thanks to Schnitz. Smithy, what do we got there for the best hands thanks to Schnitz?
Best hands for Schnitz. 1 point goes to James Tedesco. Again, had a cracker of a game against the Broncos. I don't know, mate. Let's have a chat about the Broncos.
Oh,
Your
no.
Bronco boys a little bit later in the show. They're stumbling. Please, at the
Smithy,
final
be
hurdles.
Be kind.
His one-handed little tip-on to Paul Momirovski, who had a great game too, Paul Momirovski. Scored the first try against the Broncos. They looked good, the Chookins. They looked really good. They're hitting their straps at the right time of the year.
They worked out that they had the right amount of chooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that was a joke, referring to a joke from last week. 2 points goes to, the man we were just talking about, Cam Munster, for his high take from the crossfield kick from Jerome Hughes to score his first of 3 tries. 3 tries against the Titans. I think he scored 20 points on his own the other week. Well done to Cam Munster. But 3 points, cannot go past this man. Wonga Blake's,
Wow.
I don't know how he did it. His miraculous try in the corner that he scored against the Seagulls. And it looked like he was going up. You know how they put their legs right up in the air and then jump. But he got a whack in the legs, half put him off balance, but he still scored. like crazy.
Now, Smithy, I
In
know
his
it's,
150th.
I know it's not the segment, but I yelled "Holy schnitz" when I saw that.
Did you?
Yeah, I know it's not the segment. I've broken the golden rule, but I yelled "Holy schnitz" in 2 different occasions this week. I apologise.
Okay.
I apologise.
All right. Fair enough. No need to apologise.
Okay, sorry, mate. I just apologise again.
Okay. 3
was-
times.
That was Best Hands thanks to Schnitz. Bite into golden, delicious, handcrafted Schnitz. After the break, we'll wrap up the first hour. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. The hour has just absolutely flown by. Morning, guys. Papali'i used the excuse of Michael Maguire is a flimsy one and narrow-minded. Sheens is one of the best coaches in the league. Hands down, if he thought Madge was his man, he's stupid to think Sheens won't be the best coach he's ever had. Hammer from Narrabeen. I mean, it's interesting. Look, I think that there is probably more that meets the eye on this one than simply a coach. But to be fair, in Papali'i's defence, Madge was the Kiwis coach.
Yeah.
So he has something to do with Papali'i. He has that relationship. So it really could be the reason. Like, I wouldn't completely rule out the fact that he just genuinely had a connection with Madge.
Yep.
Mix in the fact that maybe the Eels found some money, and there we go. But I personally think he should honour the deal. Got some more text here. Does it matter how much cash you were getting? Breaking a contract is breaking a contract. Stu from Cronulla. Well, it's interesting because we've all broken contracts before. I think that in the sense of, like, as I was joking earlier, like whether it be phone ones, whether it be lease ones, like find me a person that hasn't broken a contract before. Well, I mean, obviously, you pay whatever
To get out
of it. But I mean, we've all broken it. So, look, interesting times. We're going to head to a break. After the break, we've still got so much to talk about. The Brizzy Broncos, what's going? Will they stay in the 8? What's doing? The Storm, will they stay in the 8? I'm going to throw it back at you, Smithy. I'm a bit worried about the Storm.
Oh, come on, mate. Lay off the Storm, mate. Everyone's getting into them. Lay off them.
We'll head to a break. See you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Make sure to download the app, SEN app, on your app on your phone. Also, you can follow us on Apple and Spotify, the Captain's Run. That means you can listen to us anytime, whether you've got to pause it now, you go to the gym, come back later, listen to it. That is Apple, Spotify, the Captain's Run. Plus, give at SEN League a follow. I'm telling you, it's a great spot for all your rugby league news. But we have Joshua from Penrith. Joshua, are you there, mate?
Yeah, boys.
How you going, Josh?
Yeah, good, boys. Look, love the show, gentlemen. Just wanted to ask the goat and the beak. In light of sort of Matt Tripp and Brandy's comments this week, I wanted to ask you both. So, being a Penrith fan, for a very long time, and to give you an idea in the age bracket, I was 6 in 03 when they won the comp, and I've been through some triumphs and tribulations since then.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't this what the game's about? Don't we want teams to have a bit of swagger and a bit of, I suppose, quote unquote arrogance? It's all about the rugby league theatre, and I just wanted to know if you boys thought that. When it's your team, it's all well and good, and when it's not your team, it's the tall poppy syndrome.
Mate, me personally, I love it. Look, put it this way. When I came through, it was completely opposite. You score a try, you put your head down, you walk back to halfway. But that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it. I think the Penrith Panthers have been a breath of fresh air in the game. I can see why it rubs people the wrong way because obviously you're already cut that they're beating you. And then they're rubbing it in. But I personally love it because I'm obviously, because I have to analyse a game, I have to be a bit more, not just one-eyed to my team. And also, I've met Nathan, I've met Bizza, I've met Jerome Luai, and I've spoke to a lot of those boys. And so I'm closer to it, but I absolutely love it. I think they've brought a breath of fresh air. I think the game needs this kind of entertainment to fight in the new age of content when they're fighting with everything. In regards to, you just flip your phone on and you can literally have the whole world in front of you. And so, mate, I personally don't think they're arrogant only because I've met these guys and I know that, they just don't act like that. Not that they don't act like that, but they don't see it the same way as, say, an old school footy fan does. They more see it as a bit of fun, a bit of energy into the game. So I personally don't think it's arrogant at all. I really enjoy watching it.
Yeah, I don't think they're that way inclined away from the field, Kempy. I'm with you, and I think we know how much those players do for the community out in Penrith, but they're very different on the field. And you have to be. And I think we may have spoken about this in our show last week. You can't be the same person you are in your day-to-day life when you cross the line to go out and play rugby league. Like, you have to be a very different person. You have to have a very different attitude for that 80 minutes.
Well, Luai's a perfect example.
Yeah.
So humble and polite off the field. On the field, he gets amongst it, like right amongst it.
Yeah, and this has been a bit of a topic during the week, and I think it was spoken about where I think this Penrith side tends to rub people the wrong way is in some of their celebrations. And I think we've seen one use an example when they played against the Raiders out of Penrith, and they scored a try. Joseph Tarpany was on the sideline waiting to get on the field with an interchange card, and I think it might have been Stephen Crichton sort of like put his arm around him and tried to drag him into their celebrations. And that's happened in the past. I can't recall off the top of my head.
JC got pulled in by Kenny Edwards.
That's it. That's right. Parramatta. Yeah, Kenny Edwards. He was a bit of a serial offender.
A serial pest.
Yeah, a serial offender at this. Yeah. In particular, when Parramatta used to score tries and there was other defenders around where his teammate may have scored, and he used to drag them in. Remember, he used to drag them in there. Yeah, I think that type of stuff.
Yeah,
is where people go, oh, look at the arrogance, and we don't like that. And I think it's something that can be avoided. So anyway, I think that's where it gets a little bit caught up. But I think when you're winning. And when you have this ability to be the best and be the best consistently, you need to have confidence. It's not necessarily arrogance. And I think that's probably where the arrogance opinions come from is when fans and people see those situations where, they score tries and they're celebrating, they may tap an opposition player on the head or grab them and sort of, I don't know, just try and stir them up a little bit. In their eyes, it might be having a little bit of fun, but I think a lot of people sort of mistake that for arrogance and, you can just leave that stuff alone.
Yeah.
Just leave you score a try, celebrate with your mates, leave the opposition players alone.
To be clear, if I was still playing and that happened to my team, I'd be filthy.
Yeah, that's what I'm
filthy.
And I think that's what we're trying to relate that to. Yeah, our fans and people following the game when they're saying, "Oh, look at them, they're arrogant" and all that sort of stuff. I guess when you're watching a team win as often as Penrith do, it's an easy label to give them. Is they're arrogant. Yeah. Have a look at them, they're arrogant. But I think where it mainly stems from is when they're seeing them celebrate the way they do, particularly when they're including opposition players.
I as a fan, selfishly, I love it. I love it because for example. Tarpany he's enraged, and him going skits on the field. I want to see that, and I want to see the boys going hell for leather. Yep. But as I said, like if I was playing, I would be totally off the opposition. I mean, if you were playing, you didn't even need any more reason to dislike the opposition.
That's right.
But yeah, I personally think it's entertaining. I think it's. I can understand why people get frustrated with it, but I personally don't like it. I personally do like it as a fan, but if I was playing, I wouldn't like it.
Look, if they carried on that, let's put it this way: if they carried on that way and they were running dead last, no one would care.
Yeah, no one would care. No.
It's just the way. It's just the way it works. When you're winning games, people just they love to hate.
Joshua, is that you there, mate?
Does that answer your question?
That answers the question. It does.
Well, mate, you're the Penrith fan. What do you feel? What's your opinion?
Yeah, so if I put my biased glasses aside, obviously the last couple of years has been tremendous. And to give you a bit of context, like lads, I've watched the Panthers from 2003 onwards, and there was some years there where they weren't doing that, and they weren't a great side to watch through many sort of reasons.
Yep.
And now I feel like it's I've paid my dues. I've sat on the sidelines and watched it, and I've watched the Storm and the Broncos be so good for the early 2000s. And now it's my turn.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair.
And I did want to say, Goat as well. Biggest respect to you, mate. But thank you for ruining all of our 3 Wednesdays a year for Pizza and Origin night. You ruined all of those from 06 onwards. So thanks, mate.
Good on you, Josh.
Thanks,
on you, mate. Thanks for calling, Josh. No, it's a great conversation. I think even on a deeper level, I do find it really interesting that like they outside of the the celebration or whatever, they definitely have brought a very new energy to the game that I feel like we haven't really seen
very different
before. Which I really enjoy. I really enjoy. Now, we're going to get some texts here. We've got some texts. Hi, guys. Pre-match entertainment night. Wouldn't it be great?
What is it? What do we got?
Wouldn't it be great to see a Brandy and Cam in a wrestling match?
Oh, that wouldn't be fair. Brandy's like 60, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, look, I reckon he'd have a fair crack. He'd have a fair crack. Oh, Brandy, he's still got a bit of mongrel in him, I
only
reckon.
joking. I'm kidding. I can't believe, like, seriously, I cannot believe the momentum this has got.
Garnered.
Oh,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Brandy comes out and says, oh, the hip drop, it was started in Melbourne. And I come out and said, oh, look, I think that's unfair to say that. Like,
Yeah.
where's the proof?
Yeah.
Have you got any facts behind it, Brandy? Like, can't remember seeing him down there at training in my 20 years. And then all of a sudden, it's this Brandy v. Smithy. What's doing?
What is doing?
And we spoke on Monday. Like, we're on Vossi's show together on a Monday, and we spoke, and it's his opinion and my opinion.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And that's what's the great thing about it is like that you can just have that disagreement and then you just move on.
Move on, mate.
Move on. Now, we've got more text here. Cameron, if you... Okay, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if you could put an opponent off their game, you'd do it. Stu from Cronulla. Yeah, but I did it many times. Many times. Never did I sort of celebrate and try and drag the opposition into our celebrations. But anyway.
Kempy and Smithy, you blokes are defeating your own argument. You said the Kiwis are really strong now, but they have hardly got any Kiwis NZ-based players. No. Sorry, if we did say that, we misspoke. What we meant is that the New Zealand Warriors don't have any current international players at the moment. So apologies if we spoke... if we said that, because it's not the case. We're actually saying that the Kiwis and New Zealand has an incredible pool of talent.
Yes.
Now, on to some Schmokey chat. Now, Smithy, I don't know if you know this. I love to talk Smokies. As a matter of fact, I could talk... This is how much I love Smokies. I could talk about the 2030 Origin sides now.
Wow.
Like, if you want to get into that, Suoli'i will be there.
Yeah.
Sam Walker, Reece Walsh. We can get into
Are they
it.
really Smokies?
Okay, they'll be locked in by then.
They'll be about 30.
I need to go watch some
No,
under
they won't
12s. Go watch some under 12s and find out who's the best young gun. No, but
I was going to say 7 years. Mate, kids playing Origin in 2030, they're probably about 12 now, 13.
yeah, wow. And you know, as you know, like the guys that are 13 usually, like the best of the best. Sometimes they don't kick on.
No, they're not currently the best players in their age group now.
Yeah, I had this one guy coming through. I won't say his name because I won't be rude, but he was honestly, he was the next Darren Lockyer. The Broncos had him as like the king, and he absolutely dominated. Like I was told, he dominated all through school, and then he got all like straight out of school into the top squad. And it just all fell apart. It was just bizarre how it worked like that. He could just dominate for his whole life. And then he gets to a point where the best of the best are all coming together. And it just, didn't work. So really interesting. Anyway, I personally, Suoli'i, I think he is almost becoming a lock in the 30 squad that goes away.
Right.
Have you got any other Smokies that have been bobbing their head up over the last couple of weeks?
I reckon he could possibly start.
Honestly, I really believe
with
that.
Josh Adokar.
Josh Adokar, yep. Or so you reckon? Are we going Holmes in the other centre and Latrell the other centre, or are we doing Gagai?
Well, with the way Latrell's playing at the moment, and if he stays fit, he'll be there. I think, absolutely.
I've got another.
Dal Holmes played an entire series, pretty much. Well, in the centres, he played a little bit of time on the wing with injuries and whatnot throughout the series, but he could be there as well. Cowboys going really well with him playing in the centres. Yeah, I think Suoli'i and Suoli'i and Josh Adokar, I think they'll be the wingers.
Yeah. What about this? This is just a Smoky.
Oh, sorry, Cobbo as well. Wow.
I want to see a bit of Cobbo first after the head knock.
He's missed a bit of footy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's another one. Dylan Edwards to make the squad.
Yeah. How many fullbacks are they going to take those?
So Tommy's out.
Tedesco
Teddy's
will be one.
I think Latrell will be more seen as a centre. I think Mel would probably see him as a centre.
Kalen Ponga?
I don't think he'll play. I don't think he should.
Okay.
So I've just ruled Kalen Ponga out. That's an exclusive for you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Turbo won't be there. KP
maybe.
You're
not.
saying possibly not be there?
Yeah.
Oh, why not? Why wouldn't you take him? He's got the most run meters in the comp.
Because you got Gutho, you got Hines that can play a bit of fullback.
Yep. 7-6-1.
Would you,
Cameron Munster can play one,
Cam Munster?
but he'll be going as the 6.
I'm going with a squad of 50.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a squad of 50.
Did you think about this?
I did. I reckon Edwards gets the call up.
No,
I
you know
really
what?
do.
Well, the thing with these like touring parties or squads is that it's good to be able to have a bit of versatility about you. So have the ability to play multiple positions because you just don't know when you're away. Particularly like they're going over to England for the World Cup. It's a 6-week tour, I believe. So you just got to be able to cover a few bases with the 20. I think it's 24. That I think that they take away to have a little bit of versatility, particularly with the backs. So in your back line, if you can take away a group of guys playing in that back line that can play multiple positions, most of your centres can play wing.
Yeah.
But if you got a guy there that can play sort of centre wing, full back, they tend to get promoted into those squads.
So like even a Gagai.
You're always going to take a specialist, say winger, centre, full back, but those guys not particularly picked in the first sort of like your best 17 because you always got a best 17. You don't just take 24 blokes and go, oh, I'll make up my mind that week. You have in mind, okay, this is our 17. This is our strongest kangaroo squad available. And then those other guys outside of that, the extra 7, you're sort of thinking guys that can play multiple positions. But Papali'i can. Like he's a fullback. He grew up and played all of his juniors as a fullback. I think that's his target is to be a fullback. He won't play there while Tedesco's there. Can play centre. Was doing fantastic things on the wing. So I think he'll be there. He's just an athlete. He's so good.
That's the scary thing with a guy like Papali'i is that like he hasn't even come close to getting into like filling his body out.
Yeah.
Like once he
and talking to a lot of guys that know Joseph, they talk about like for a young man, have not seen many at his age put the time and effort into his preparation like he does. So he knows exactly, what his role is. He understands what he needs to do for any given game against any given opposition. Physically and mentally prepares himself as well as anyone in the game.
That's crazy.
And he's only 19?
Just turned
19. Just turned 19.
Yeah.
Just turned 19. So
that usually doesn't come.
If he stays fit, let's touch wood. Let's hope this young man stays fit and he's in our game for a long, long time. He could be something very special.
Oh, mate, I cannot wait. And like to have the maturity to have your preparation already at a top tier level as a 19-year-old, that doesn't come till like usually 23, 24, sometimes even 25. Seriously.
Yep.
So that's incredible. His future is super, super bright. Now, we're going to head to a break. After the break, we're going to talk about the young players that are climbing the Bailey ladder. So stay tuned for that. The young guns that are coming through climbing the Bailey ladder. Make sure to call in 1300 01 1300 01 1170. We've had a lot of callers today. Or text 0457 736 736. We just got a text in. Jack White in the centres. There's a Schmokey for you.
Wow.
Anyway, we're going to head to a break. After the break, we'll continue seeing which young players are climbing up the Bailey ladders. Time to break down which young players are climbing up the Bailey ladder. Workside trusted for over 60 years. That is 60 years workside trusted, guys. Bailey ladders. But what do we got there, Smithy?
Okay, my first nominee is Griffin Neame, the young cowboy. He's only 21. Last week, though, had a try, ran for over 100 metres, one line break and made 15 tackles in just one half of footy.
Mate, he's been going really well. He's a Kiwi too, I'm pretty sure.
He's a big boy, I know that.
Yes.
And doing some wonderful things. They're all playing really well up there at the moment, Cowboys. So he's my first nomination. Number 2, Isaac Thompson, NRL debut for the Rabbitohs. He ran for over 175 metres, had one try, 2 line breaks, and 1 line break assist against the Warriors. That was like a training run.
Seriously.
That was like a training run. Like we had players, and it's not a great look, but we had players and coaches just laughing after tries. And anyway, great performance by Isaac Thompson. And number 3 goes to Jacob Arthur. Now, he's only 19. He's only played like a dozen games. He's been copping it, unfairly.
Yeah.
All right. But last week, I thought he was outstanding against Manly. 1 line break assist, 2 try assists, kicked for over 450 metres against the Sea Eagles in the absence of Mitch Moses. I thought he played outstanding, Jacob Arthur. So they're my 3 young guns.
And you were there at the game, weren't you?
I was there.
And just to be clear, those 2 try assists weren't just any try assists. They were, the game was in the balance. Manly were ahead.
Yep.
They needed something special.
Yep.
And Jacob Arthur delivered. So hopefully.
That great little kick behind the line
Over top for Wanga Blake.
Penasini.
Yep.
And the lob pass for Wanga Blake, who had a lot of work to do to score it, but put him in space and give him the opportunity to finish off like all good wingers do. But like you said, mate, crucial moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crucial moments in that game.
So let's hope the Para Eels fans have turned around and they're a fan of Jacob Arthur, or at least understand that he's a 19-year-old kid that needs time, needs experience, whether that's from the bench. And,
12 games.
Literally 12 games. Needs a bit of time. And also, as a club, as a fan, I mean, wouldn't you want him in the best headspace possible?
Yeah.
So, hopefully that it's turned him around. I think it does. I think it has. And I think it's a beautiful moment for the Arthur family. It would have been I think it would have been quite distressing for Brad Arthur to see and talk and hear about that.
Yep.
So, absolutely stoked for Arthur to come out and play that well. Also, we've got a text here, and it's a great text. Quick mention of the resilience of Nathan Stapleton and his family. The ACA interview was inspiring, and I'm proud of how the bush communities have rallied around the family with the fundraisers. That's Stapleton. Used to play for the Sharks, I'm pretty sure. Played some bush footy. Had a terrible injury while playing bush footy, and I think now he's a paraplegic. So, absolutely. Very strong man to be able to push through everything he's pushing through. No doubt about that. We've got some more text here. Goat and Smithy. What do you boys think of Cleary in 7, DC at 6, and Munster at 1? Although I don't think you can pass on Teddy. He's playing career best form this year. I think you got to go. I personally would go Cleary and Munster at 6, but I can understand if they went DCE. But what do you reckon, Smithy?
Well, I think Tedesco will be 1. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
He won't be shifted out of there. Munster would do a great job. There's no doubt about that. Interesting to see who will get that starting halves position. Because DC he's the incumbent.
Yeah, and he had a great game.
Had a fantastic Origin series.
Yeah,
has been playing well all year for Manly. Clear at the top of the table. Nathan Cleary with the Penrith Panthers and has been for the last couple of years playing really well. But Kangaroos haven't played for a couple of years.
Yeah,
so it'd be very interesting to see who gets that jersey.
Mate, cannot wait. I can't wait for this. This is the most excited I've been for a World Cup in a very, very long time. Now, we're going to head to a break. After the break, we're going to preview tonight's absolutely huge clash. We're also going to discuss my concerns with the Storm. Could they fall out of the 8? I don't know. I feel like they might be. Anyway, we'll get to it after the break. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. Now, we have got our game of the round, and we do that thanks to Suncorp. Get award-winning car insurance with Suncorp. Suncorp has won the CanStars Outstanding Claims Award 7 years in a row.
7 years.
So if you need car insurance, go to Suncorp. They are the best in the business. But we have Penrith versus the Melbourne Storm. Matt Eisenhuth starts at prop in place of suspended James Fisher-Harris. Talon May is out with a shoulder injury, so Sunia Taruva. Now, Taruva, he looks special. I'm very excited to see what this kid can do.
Fijian international.
Yes. Joins the starting side, and Robert Jennings joins the bench. Kikau is back in the starting side after missing last week with a hip injury. The Storm. Hughes is out with a shoulder injury. Cooper Johns stays at halfback. I thought Cooper Johns was outstanding last week. Cam Munster returns to 5'8". Nick Meaney returns at fullback. Olam is back at centre after being out last week with COVID. Tom Eisenhuth starts at second row for Felice Kofusi, who is out for personal reasons. Chris Lewis is the new man on the bench. Smithy, speak to me.
Huge game.
Wow.
Huge game. If let's look at the two scenarios. Penrith win this one. They all but wrap up the minor premiership. If Storm lose this one, they could drop out of the top 4.
Wow.
They could. And as we know, we spoke about briefly, the finish to their season. They got a pretty solid finish. as well. So it puts in jeopardy trying to get that double go.
Yeah.
In the first week of the finals, finishing in the top four. We all know that. Finish top four, you get two bites at the cherry. So this is a really, really big one, particularly for Melbourne. I think the Penrith have got 4 more opportunities to wrap up the minor premiership, but if Melbourne lose this one, it just makes it a little bit harder going into the finals. Just a little bit harder, and particularly with like Jerome Hughes out, that's a big one, and also Felice Kafusi. Felice Kafusi's not there because unfortunately his father Taniela passed away, so we send our best wishes to the Kafusi family. And you've got Kikau returning, although Fisher Harris and Taylor May are out.
Yeah,
both teams missing some firepower. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a very difficult game for Melbourne to win.
Yep.
They've got such a good record, Penrith, at home. They've lost like one game in about 3 years. It's something ridiculous like that. It's probably not quite that, but it's close to it. But I'm going to back my team home.
Going to back
I'm
them
going
home?
to back them in.
Smithy, I got a question for
I'm
you.
backing them in.
Now, it's going to sound crazy when I first say it, but I actually think it's not that crazy of a question.
Right.
Are Penrith Panthers still favourites to win the premiership, even if Cleary and Luai were out for the rest of the year?
I think they would be.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think they would be. But you'd say the other team's got a gregreater chance.
Oh,
of
much
beating
better.
them.
But it shows you how
that's not groundbreaking opinion or news, but you'd still consider them favourites to win just because of the systems that they have in place there and how good they are, no matter who plays. They're just so consistent. Like you chuck in Sean O'Sullivan into the halves, he goes out and plays the system that they need.
Yeah.
Jamin Salmon's been playing in the halves. He's not a Jerome Luai, but he just goes out and gets his job done.
Mm-hmm.
That's what consistency is.
Yeah.
And it's not about being flash and creating highlights and all that sort of stuff. Like winning's winning, whether you win it in a way that's not overly entertaining. For many years we were labelled boring by like experts, commentary experts, media experts of rugby league. Like, they're just boring, hard to watch. I'll tell you what's not boring: winning.
Not at
Fans
all.
don't get bored with winning.
No.
I'm sure the Penrith fans wouldn't be bored with winning as many games as they've won over the last 2 years.
Yeah, no, it just shows you the incredible system that they've set up there. The fact that they could lose both Origin New South Wales halves and we would still consider them favourites is just an incredible. The Storm, though, I know you can never count the Storm out. I really know that. Like over the years, every year that we've said, this might be the year, this might be the year, every year got proven wrong. But I just think, to me, the team looks a bit flat. It's not even about the personnel. They just look a bit it's been a huge couple of years for the Storm. I don't think they get enough credit for the fact that they also had to move away for essentially, 2 years nearly. Do you think, obviously there's still a chance, but is this a concern? Are you worried about the Storm? But is recruitment good for next year, do you think? Where's your head at with the Storm at the moment?
Well, they're only just starting to make a couple more signings as far as forward pack's concerned. We mentioned this last week also that they're losing the two Bromwich brothers, Jesse and Kenny. They're losing Felice Kafusi, and they're losing Brandon Smith. And who have they signed? Tarek Sims.
Yep.
And
Katoa. Yeah.
So I think they're trying to rely on young guys coming up through their development system or their development program. So it's been that way now for some time at Melbourne. They don't tend to go out and buy established NRL players for whatever reason. I'm not too sure what that reason is. But yeah, it's concerning. The concerning thing has been around injuries and how their, I won't say inability, but the lack of ability of players coming up and filling the void like Penrith do now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in the past where Melbourne they've lost players through injury or representative games, suspensions, whatever it is, whoever's come in, they've just gone bang, nothing changes.
Yeah.
Whereas now you can see an obvious difference when you lose players from their best, let's say, 18 or 19.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesteryear against the Storm, it was never they've got this big player or this big player, they should be a walkover or anything like that. It was genuinely like, no, it's probably going to be an even grindier game because they'll be even more disciplined because they know they need to be more disciplined to get the job done.
Yeah. And the thing is, and it's probably this way last year, and we're talking about the competition, how it's a much more competitive competition this year compared to last year in particular. Like Melbourne they were so much better. Well, you throw Penrith in there as well, but they broke all sorts of records last year.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they win by a huge margin, the minor premiership. They broke records for, I think,
points scored,
tries scored, whatever it was. I think they equaled
the run.
Was it 19 in a row?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it was. They were going for 20 and they got beaten. And then they go to the first week of the finals. They smash Manly, and they're just like, how easy is this? And then all of a sudden they come up against a quality outfit, and they couldn't get the job done. That's the concerning thing.
Yeah,
and I think, and I think that it's just the lack of the ability to play in those softer games, but then make it work when that needs to in the tough ones.
Yeah.
I think the best thing for Melbourne this year is that they got a pretty solid run into the finals, so they're going to be ready to go in the tough games. Compared to last year, it was like they won by like 40, 50, 40,
crazy.
40, and played finals. They won that by 30. So they weren't really physically and mentally prepared for that prelim final, but this year's a little bit different. They got to get players on the park. That's played like. Let's acknowledge that they've had a huge amount of injuries, particularly in their outside backs. They've hardly had Pappenhausen on the field this year. Jerome Hughes has spent time away. So's Brandon Smith. It's been an up and down season for them, but no doubt they're not playing the football that we are used to. But also, they're not the team that they once were as well.
Yeah.
They're
Absolutely.
a very different team. So it is what it is right now. And let's just see how far they can go.
That was the game of the round. Thanks to Suncorp Car Insurance, winner of the CanStars Outstanding Claims Award 7 years in a row. Now, the New Zealand Warriors versus Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, Friday 6 p.m. at Mount Smart. DeJean Ussie returns at 5'8". Egan moves back to hooker. Freed Lussick to the bench. Viliame Valea, sorry if I'm getting that wrong, returns at centre. Ewan Aiken moves to second row, while Josh Curran is back at starting lock. And then the Doggies, Tavita Pangai Jr. remains in Australia for family reasons, and Raymond Faitala Mariner starts at lock.
Did the Doggies go straight to New Zealand from Bundaberg? I think they did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they've been over there. They've been over there most of the week, preparing for this one.
Yeah, okay. Big game.
6 o'clocker tomorrow night. I think the Doggies win.
I think they do too. I think they look absolutely fantastic. And I think that bringing Reed and who's the other big sign? Kikau.
Yeah, Kikau. Literally big signing.
Yeah,
He's
wow.
a giant.
I think, honestly, I said this last week, I said maybe even the week before, get excited, Doggies fans. It's looking real, real good. Matty Burton is looking fantastic. His combination with Flanagan gets better every single week. Averillo looks more comfortable at the back.
Yep.
Josh Adokar and Burton's combination, it is truly, it's one of the best 6-wing combinations we've got in the competition right now, and it's only just getting started. I am a bit surprised that I've said it a few times, but I'm surprised that they're letting Paul Vaughan go. I think he's been quite good this year. Max King has been outstanding for them, a real unsung hero. The Warriors, I'm a bit concerned with the Warriors at the moment, unfortunately. How do you see the game playing out?
Well, the style of footy that the Dogs are taking over there, I think, just get the job done. They've been quite impressive for mine over the last 6 weeks. Really have. They've improved so much from what we've seen at the start of the year. And that's only got to be, good things for everyone in the side. And Mick Potter's doing a great job. And
Do you extend Potter?
particularly their fans. Well, I've mentioned that.
Yeah.
Like if he has got improvement out of this football side, why not give him another 12 months? They've only been on the rise, haven't they?
Yeah. I think
They
so.
seem like they get better each week they play. And I know that doesn't translate into wins every week, but as long as you're seeing improvement, then that's what you want.
Yeah.
Really.
I agree.
So I don't know why. Like, give him another 12 months. If he's doing some great things with the players there and the players are happy, give him another 12 months. See how it goes. Like, you just don't know. Like, halfway through next year, if they're sitting in the top 8, does he then get extended out again? I don't know. What do you feel he'll be the coach next year?
It's interesting because they should have. I think they should have already extended him. But this Seraldo, I guess, chatter
Doesn't go away.
doesn't go away. But if you're the Bulldogs, surely you just go, look, we're going to run the gauntlet. I doubt Seraldo's going to sign with another club in the next 6 months.
Yes.
We'll extend Potter for 12 months. Just see how he goes. And then if in the first 10 rounds, if we can see there's no improvement, boom, we sign Seraldo.
I don't think Seraldo is going to leave.
You reckon he'll stay?
Personally, I don't think he's going to leave Penrith.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you reckon
Like,
what's
who
slowly
knows?
just-
But that's just my gut feeling.
Okay, so you reckon he'll slowly just take over Ivan's role eventually?
Well, either that or like he just like he's only, what is he, 38?
Quite young.
37? Like, he's got time on his side. Like, he's not in like for mine, I don't think he should be in any rush to take over a footy side right now.
Well, it's like what Fitzgibbon did so successfully. He waited until
Spent
everything
time.
lined up, and then look at him now killing it. We're going to head to a break. After the break, we've got plenty of texts. Call in 1300 01 1170 or text 0457 736. After the break, we're going to get to your text, so we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. Got some texts here, Smithy. Some texts. Hey, Goat and Beak, do you see South going on a grand final run like last year? Cheers, Jeb.
No. I'll just very quickly, not this year. I don't think so. Just haven't seen enough from them. And I know they've gone on a little bit of a run in the last month with the return of Latrell Mitchell, but no, I don't. Not this year.
Yeah, it's it's hard to say no with any team with Latrell in it. Because he's just so incredible. But I look, when you're missing a guy like Reynolds and a guy like Dan Gagai and a guy like Wayne Bennett, I think if they did, it'd be incredible. But I can't see it, unfortunately, not this year. Now, Jordan and Smithy, regarding the Dogs coaching position, if Seraldo does come to the Dogs and he has been the Panthers' defensive coach, then surely the Dogs retain Potter as the attack coach. Gus can look after player retention and the salary cap, allowing Seraldo and Potter to concentrate just on the players. Wins all round. Bulldog Bob.
Yeah, it's not a crazy idea, is it? Because that's how coaching teams are set up. Like, there's a head coach that oversees majority of the game plan, and they usually tend to lean more to one side of either the attack or the defense. Depends on sort of their coaching style. But then you have the assistants around them that take, say, the senior assistant coach is head of attack. Then you have an assistant coach looking after the forwards, assistant coach looking after the backs. So it's not a crazy idea. I really like if Seraldo comes. But the thing is, when you sign a new coach, usually that new coach likes to take his own staff. That's the only thing.
Be very hard to have a coach that has success like Potter with the Dogs, than to walk in and go, oh, you're now beneath me in the chain of command. And then
this is the style that
I
we're
want
going
to
to play.
And then you've got certain players that would be, subconsciously loyal to Potter. So, it's an interesting situation. We're going to head to a break. After the break, we're going to get some more of your texts. So keep texting in 0457 736 736 or call in 1300 01 1170. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith and myself. Remember, you can catch up on anything you missed from the show via our podcast, which you can download now on the SEN app, or you can go to Apple and Spotify. You can give the Captain's Run a follow, and you can listen to it anytime you want on Apple or Spotify. Plus, give at SEN League a follow on Instagram, the best place to get your rugby league news. Also, give us a follow on Twitter, 1170 SEN. Give us a call, 1301 1170 or 0457 736 736 for a text. But now we have, in my opinion, the second match of the round. It could even actually turn out to the match of the round. It could actually be so impactful that the team that loses this could slip out of the 8 and not make it. It is the Parramatta Eels versus the Rabbitohs, 7:55 at CommBank Stadium. Just one change. We've got Ogden set to play his first NRL game of the year in place of Makatoa on the bench. South Sydney Rabbitohs, Hame Sele returns from a hamstring injury, pushing Daniel Saluka Fafita to the reserve. Smithy, how do you see this one playing out?
Oh, well, I was really impressed with Parramatta last week. I thought it was a great game of footy that they played.
Oh, man.
Great game of footy all round, Parra versus Manly. But they looked much like the Parramatta that we seen at the start of this year. There was a period of time where it was seesawing a little bit, that game. They come out, it was 14-all at halftime, returned in the second half. Manly scored first, I believe. It was 20-14. And then they dug in, Parramatta. They actually dug in and finished off the game really well. Finished scoring, I think, 30-odd points to 20. But I was really impressed with the way they bounced back, particularly like Mitch Moses wasn't there. Now, he does a lot of work. Like, he does pretty much all their kicking. He's their goal kicker. Like, Gutho didn't pack his goal-kicking boots last week.
He had a tough night.
It was king. Was it 3 from, I think, 9 maybe.
Mate.
3 from 9. But they still managed to win quite well. So I was really impressed with that. I thought the combo Brown and Sean Lane,
it's been building all year.
Outstanding. The last couple of weeks he's been, and I know not last week, the week before, they were playing against a 12-man outfit against Penrith for the most part of that game. But Sean Lane was instrumental in creating some opportunities down that left side. Through, like, he just punching holes beautifully outside of Dylan Brown. He's got that one-arm right-hand offload.
Really tall.
Created an opportunity for Gutho last week where he showed some pace.
Yeah.
He got the ball, ran about 70 metres to score, fella. Ran around Ruben Garrick. Ruben Garrick's got a busted groin, but anyway.
Yeah. Gutho. Mate, where did that come from, Gutho?
I don't know.
Seriously, where did that come from?
He wound back the clock a little bit there.
Mate, he tucked his running shoes, not his kicking boots.
Yeah. Look, I was impressed with them. His spikes. He had his spikes on.
That's why he couldn't kick, mate. He had his spikes on.
What's doing? Come on, mate. Can we get some sort of hybrid boot, please, for Gutho that can help him run fast and kick goals? Because he's going to have to for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But I think Mitch Moses is out for at least 3. At least, maybe a month.
Minimum 3.
So, back to this one. What Parramatta team turns up?
Yeah, that's the question.
I don't know.
That is the question.
What South Sydney team turns up?
That is also the question.
I'm going to back Para.
You going Para?
I'm going to go Para.
Just quickly.
Without any confidence.
Can
I
no
say
confidence
that too?
whatsoever.
That's a little disclaimer down the bottom.
I just want to... You know those real those ads where they speed up, like, with no confidence?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Now, I just wanted to shout out to Lane. I think this has been Lane's best the year of his career. I think his combination with Brown has been building all year long. And in a forward pack with guys like Madison, Papali'i, with Polo, with RCG, Sean Lane often gets overlooked.
Yep.
But I think there's a reason why he has kept that wide running forward spot all year long. And it's because how much he delivers and the unique frame he has to be able to create offloads, to be able to drop the ball off the back. So, yeah, Lane's been fantastic. Obviously, Dylan Brown's been fantastic. But on to the Rabbitohs. Oh, man, I don't know who to tip here. I really don't know who to tip because...
my way of thinking is just coming off last week and, like, it was a very easy win for Rabbitohs.
Yeah.
Like, very easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I thought Cam Murray, he looks like in red-hot form. And
he's been playing well all year, mate.
Yeah, and I just think whenever he's playing well, the Rabbitohs seem to play... I mean, it seems obvious, but whenever he's going well, they seem to lift into it. Whenever he's a bit quiet, they seem to struggle to get momentum. They seem to struggle around the middle in defensive, cleaning things up. This is a tough one. I am going to go...
I think it sounds like you're going Rabbits. Mate, you can't flip now after talking them up.
No. Okay, I'll go the Rabbitohs.
I'm going Para.
I'll go Rabbitohs.
I'm just going... I'm dead set going Parramatta off the back of... I just look at last week's matches and I thought that they did a really, really good job to go out to 4 Pines Park, rookie, and play against a Manly side who I think had plenty to play for off the back of the previous week and what happened with the club.
And the 8 as well.
Yeah, and the 8, sorry, yes, to try and get into the 8. And I thought they did a really good job without their regular number 7, Mitch Moses.
Yeah, interesting to see.
They just need to back it up, though.
The concern, I think, for the Eels as well with Brown, if he keeps playing like this, I think he can sign with another club November 1st.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure he can.
Okay.
So
is he like just dead set off contract or
no,
an option?
He had a player option for 2023 that he took up, but he doesn't have a player option for 2024. Okay. So as of November 1st, he can sign somewhere else.
For 24?
For 24.
Okay. That goes back to that discussion we had earlier. That's just crazy. But anyway.
Okay, so I'm going to go the Rabbitohs. Someone just texted in, Smithy, could Sean Lane be a Kangaroo tour bolter? Matt.
Yeah, he could be.
Maybe.
Depending on how deep they go.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess into the finals.
Yeah, if they go on a real good run, I think you could see him there. But there's a lot of good back rowers.
Yep.
A lot of good back rowers. Now, Sydney Roosters versus the Cowboys. We've got the Sydney Roosters, Egan
what
Butcher.
A game.
Oh, my God. Talk about some good games. Like, this is one of the best weekends we've had maybe since Origin. Seriously.
Yep.
We've got the Roosters versus Cowboys, Saturday 3 p.m. at the SCG. Egan Butcher is back from suspension on the bench, and Ben Thomas moves back to the reserves. North Queensland Cowboys, Jordan McLean returns on the bench after suffering a hamstring injury in Origin 3 camp. How do you see this one playing out?
This is another game you could say could possibly be the match of the round. If it wasn't Melbourne Penrith tonight, like there's a couple of games here.
So I actually think these guys are playing for more.
Yeah.
Because, like, Penrith's minor premierships, in reality, like, they're going to win the minor premiership.
Okay.
Storm, I highly doubt they're dropping out of the 8. Even though
it just depends where they finish, top 4 or bottom 4. Yep.
Whereas these guys are literally fighting for finals footy. So that's where I think there could be fireworks.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think Cowboys finish top 4.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, but this is the big ones around the Roosters, and they found some really good form of late. They've won 4 in a row. They're going for 5 on the trot. I don't think there's any team in the competition that has won that many. No, there hasn't. The closest is the Cowboys, who have won 3 in a row.
Oh, really? So not even the Panthers?
Well, no, they suffered a loss, didn't they, against Parramatta, mate, last week or a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, you mean currently?
I'm talking current runs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not talking about wins this season.
I thought it was this season. I was like,
no, Penrith have only lost the 2, but I'm talking about their current winning streak.
Yep.
Okay, so they've got the best winning streak at the moment. The Roosters, they've won 4 in a row, looking for 5. Next best is the Cowboys. They've won 3. I can't believe the Cowboys are outsiders.
Neither can I.
Check out if you want to check out some markets. Check out the great people at Top Sport and gamble responsibly. But I can't believe they're outsiders.
I honestly can't either.
It only has to be because they're travelling to Sydney.
It must be.
Like, you got the team running second at the moment, and playing like some pretty good footy. They've got the return of Jordan McLean, who's been huge this year for them. It must be just having to travel to Sydney and taking on probably a team that's playing the best they've played all year.
Yeah,
has to be
that, because even the teams they've beaten on this run, it's not like they've beaten. They beat the Broncos, who's on a bit of a form slump, but outside of that, they've beaten, I think, lower tier teams, if I recall correctly. But could be wrong. Anyway, but in saying all that, I'm actually going to back the Roosters to get the win.
Yeah, okay.
I personally just think that I think Trent has, as you said, like, this is the best they've played all year.
Yep.
And I've actually got a lot of comments, teasing me, because all year I've been saying Trent's been tinkering, like, with the way he wants to play.
Yep.
And I think he's finally found the way he wants to play. And the reason why I say that is when you look at their bench, I'm not sure about this week, but usually he has 3 small men on the bench.
Yeah.
Which is, like, unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
And so clearly he has a very specific game plan of just high speed through the ruck, long minutes from his middle forwards.
Yep.
So I think Roosters get the job done.
Yeah, well, you see that when Connor Watson comes on the field.
Yeah.
And he's been a big part of these 4 wins in a row. Like, he's been quite damaging when he comes on and runs and takes on those bigger men. It's a clear tactic is start big and powerful, and then bring on some fast men as the game gets older and older. But you're right. I'm actually going to tip the Cowboys.
Okay.
I'm going to tip the Cowboys because they've been in great form pretty much all year. They're running second, and I agree with you. If you look at the Roosters and the teams that they've had those 4 wins against over the last month, it was the Broncos. The Broncos they didn't get off the bus last week.
Oh man,
I don't know what was going on there. They just didn't turn up with the right attitude at all. They beat Manly without 7 players. Remember that was the jersey fiasco when 7 players withdrew from the match. The previous week to that, they beat Newcastle, who were going awful. And I think Kalen Ponga had a head knock that night, so they played without him. So they played with 16 men. And then previous to that, they played St. George. Yeah. So like you're saying, that they've had great wins and they've won 4 and wins are wins. They all count, but they haven't played a team of the quality of the Cowboys for quite some time.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So I'm going to go the Cowboys in this one.
Okay. There's a few different picks this week.
And I'll tell you another reason why the Cowboys want to come down and play well and win. If they want to take out the whole competition, at some stage, they're going to have to play a big game in Sydney.
Yes.
Away from home.
Yeah.
So
there it is.
Good practice this weekend, boys.
How interesting there was a really interesting interview, Matty Johns with Toddy Payton. If you get a chance, check that out. I think it's on KO. Really, really interesting talking about, his methods and some of the things he felt he got wrong or right last year.
Right.
Now, onto the Tigers versus the Cronulla Sharks. I feel like the Cronulla Sharks, they're just swimming along nicely. No pressure. It's crazy to think these guys are a genuine premiership threat, yet I just
no one's talking about them.
The pressure just doesn't seem to be on them. It just doesn't seem to be on them. And the run home is not too bad at all for them. They've got the Tigers this week. So, anyway, Tigers, Kemamalo is out with injury. Stafford Toa shifts to the wing and James Roberts starts at centre. Zane Musgrove starts at prop. Offengalway Galway moves to lock and Fanua Bole to the bench. And then for the Sharkies, Lockie Miller has been named on the wing for Connor Tracy. Dale Finucane returns from suspension. Cam McGuinness moves to the bench. Matt Moylan's still out with a quad injury, so Braden Trindle stays at 5'8". Thoughts?
I think Cronulla win this. West Tigers failed to beat Newcastle last week, so
that was a bludger of a game.
It's not great reading for West Tigers going into this one. I think they're just idling along, Cronulla. They played some wonderful footy in the first sort of 2/3 of the season. I think over the last month, I think they're just bumbling along though.
Okay.
And that's maybe why you haven't seen too many things said or written about Cronulla, and they're just flying under the radar a little bit. Like they only beat the Dragons last week by 6. Okay, and that's a bit of a derby game, so maybe St. George got up for that one. But previous to that, they got taken to Golden Point by the Rabbits. They were beaten convincingly by Penrith the previous week, so that's another. That's who I guess everyone's saying is the favourites for the premiership. And they sort of snuck past Cowboys, so they're not winning games like in convincing style, which is what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're playing poorly, but I think they're just idling along at the moment. I think they really need to try and start finding another gear to take some momentum into finals, because I don't think they're a team, and there's not many teams like Penrith. I don't think they're a team like Penrith who can just, do what they have to do, and then just go bang and explode.
Because it's really interesting. The Sharks, for their ladder and them finishing second, they have almost the best run. They have the Tigers, they have the Manly Seagulls, they got the Bulldogs and the Knights. But for their finals hopes, you want a tough run home to get you hardened for the finals.
That's right.
So that may be a little bit of worry. But in saying that, maybe it rests their bodies. I'm not sure. Maybe they don't have those tough matches that bashes them around. I'm not sure.
I'd say the thing, if you have a scenario like that, and that's out of your control, okay? So you always try and, in these situations, when you're playing elite sport, you control the things you can control. You can't control who you're playing week to week. That's been done a long time ago, the draw, okay? What you can do is you can have a ruthless mindset of, no matter who we're playing, Let's just treat it like we're playing Melbourne Storm. Let's treat it like we're playing Penrith Panthers every week. So then you have that, you train yourself to have that mindset. So because you will be facing one of those sides at some stage in the final series.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm going to have to agree with you there, Smithy. You've got a bit of experience in that area. I had one final series and we got beaten by you guys on the buzzer.
Sorry, mate.
Far out. Talk about a downer. Jeez. Anyway, we're going to head back. We're going to continue to preview the round, guys. After the break, we've got a million texts. We're going to get to your texts. Call in 1300 01 1170, text 0457 736 736, and we'll see you on the other side.
Holy Schnitz. Time now for the sporting highlight of the week. Thanks to Schnitz, home of fresh, golden, handcrafted schnitzels.
Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. Time for one of my favourite moments of the whole week. It's Holy Schnitz sporting moment. Now, I know I broke the rule of all rules is not to have more than one Holy Schnitz in a week, but I did. I yelled it twice this week.
Yes.
And my nomination was Ricky Stewart's post-match press conference. I seriously yelled Holy Schnitz.
I think that was yelled right across the country.
Wow. My jaw was hanging down going, did he just say what I think he said? So that was my Holy Schnitz moment. But as I said, he's apologised. He's getting punished. Hopefully hopefully it never happens again.
Yes. Let's hope not. I don't think it will.
Surely
it's the
not.
first of its kind, so
Yeah,
that we know of. So, yeah. Do you want my nomination?
I would love your Holy Schnitz nomination.
Okay, my Holy Schnitz nomination was when I heard reports. Now, reports.
Yes.
Okay, let's get that out there. Reports not confirmed yet. Reports that Aussie golfer Cameron Smith, my namesake, has signed with Live Golf. Do you know how much for?
How much?
140 million.
Holy Schnitz.
140 million Australian dollars.
Holy Schnitz.
Now,
Holy Schnitz.
now they are reports.
Yes, they're just reports.
Just reports, so let's not get too carried away until it is confirmed by Cameron Smith, the golfer. But that's what we are hearing.
Mate.
140 million. I went, holy schnitzels.
Why did that Cam Smith get 140 million?
Crazy.
Seriously.
Why didn't I say, oh, no, Dad, Mum, I'm going to play golf?
You should forge the signature. You should go pretend to be him. Show the ID. They wouldn't know.
Well, I don't have a mullet.
Oh, grow one.
No.
We talked about this. The skullet. We've talked about this. The skullet.
Mate. I said to my kids, I'll grow a skullet. They just laughed. They said, yeah, go on, Dad, go on.
They'd love it, mate.
No, I can't because my young fellow, he's like, oh, no, I'm growing a mullet. I said, never, ever will you grow a mullet. At least until you're 18 when you can make your decision on what haircut you have, boy. You're not having it, mate. I just against it with me little fella. But anyway.
Just imagine you say, no, you can't, and then you roll in with a mullet.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It won't happen.
They were our Holy Schnitz sporting moments, thanks to Schnitz. Got that winning taste right now? Schnitz handcrafted schnitzels made fresh and made just for you. After the news, we'll continue our round 22 preview. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cam Smith. Make sure to download the SEN app, or you can listen to us on Apple and Spotify. You follow the Captain's Run on Apple and Spotify. Plus, give at SEN League a follow on Instagram. All your rugby league news will be there. But first of all, we've got the big match, biggest match of the round.
Okay.
Broncos Knights, Suncorp Stadium. The fans are frothing. They're waiting. They bated breath for this match.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Tamade Martin returns at fullback, while Brenko Lee replaces Dean Mariner at centre. The Newey Knights, we've got Jacob Clifford out with a fractured arm. We've got Adam Clune returns at halfback. Clemmer returns at prop, while Matt Croker replaces Mitch Barnett at lock, who is out with a thumb injury. Smithy, how do you see this game panning out?
Well, they need to bounce back, don't they, Broncos?
Oh.
I was about to say they need to get back on the horse. But that would be more apt for, say, the Cowboys. Because
Yes.
Broncos are a horse.
Yes,
So
they need to get back on the course.
Yes, they need to get back on the course. Yeah, I like it. I love it. In all seriousness, they do. And, look, if they were to lose to Newcastle at home, what does that mean for their season and what does that mean for Broncos fans?
If they lose to Newcastle at home, that would be the most disappointing thing that I've experienced all season long. Like
For the Bronx.
For the Bronx, for the fans, but mainly for the players, because they're the ones that have worked their asses off to get to where they are.
Yep.
And so it's not the fans, and obviously you have to care about the fans and ex-players, all that kind of stuff. You have to care, but at the end of the day, you are the playing group. You are the playing group. You're the ones that are letting down yourself.
This season's for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the same people that love you, that are writing all these positive articles and how good the Broncos are back, the old days are back, Kevy's the best. They're the same people that are going to write the articles saying that you guys are inexperienced, you were bad signings, that you didn't turn up, that you've made wrong decisions in your recruitment, that the old Broncos isn't there, the spirit. They're the same people.
Yep.
So for yourself, we need to turn up as a team and get the job done.
Okay, so how do they turn around their last fortnight of footy? What's been the biggest issue for you? You think?
Well,
Attitude,
Yeah.
like game plan. What is it?
I personally think they miss Paddy Carrigan massively. I think that he's such a leader that he can get them up for games. Now, someone's texted in and said from McHugh, they said the Broncos didn't turn up last week because it had their first 5-day turnaround, which is can play a part, but still that doesn't excuse attitude. You could tell in the first 20 minutes.
I think that might be a little bit of a dig at they don't get 5-day turnarounds.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it might be.
Sorry.
I think that's what
Had
might
their
be.
first. Okay. You got me there.
A little
1-0.
little bit of tongue in
Tongue in
cheek.
cheek. You got me there 1-0.
Because they're always Fridays.
On the Friday
you know what I
nights.
mean?
Yep. But yeah, I think Paddy Carrigan is a big miss, like missing him a lot.
Yep. Well, he's out for another 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just think it's all about that first 20 minutes. Like you look at the first 20 minutes from the Roosters, they came there to win because the energy was up. They were aggressive, the line speed. As soon as the Broncos warmed into the match, they started playing some good footy.
Yep.
So it's all just about sometimes in seasons, and we've all been guilty of it, sometimes in seasons when you're going really well, you start thinking that things are just going to come naturally.
Yep.
And you forget that you have to earn the right every week to get the win. And I just think that's kind of happened a little bit.
So okay. So it's more of a mental thing,
Just a
than
mental
physical thing.
Definitely not
You
a
reckon
physical
they've just sort of gone, oh, we're going to ride here, and we'll just turn up and things will happen?
Yeah, I think that they've just it's a long year. It's a really long year. And so they've just got in the grind and they think, oh, okay, we'll take we'll relax a little bit here, we'll relax a little bit there. I think they need to come out and remember exactly. I mean, for a period there, they were playing with the most energy of any team nearly in the comp.
Absolutely. Have a look at only a few weeks ago against Parramatta.
Yeah.
Come out and just blew them off the park with attitude. That's how they beat them.
Mm-hmm.
They had a better attitude than Parramatta, and they beat them at home. Like they beat them at CommBank Stadium. So, yeah, I think for Brisbane, this is a really big one. They need to get their season back on track with this game, and you can't just write Newcastle off either. Yeah, okay, so they won last week without David Clemmer. He returns to the side after being stood down for a week. Mitch Barnett is out with a thumb injury. Jake Clifford out also, fractured arm. It just hasn't been a great year for Jakey. So Adam Clune returns to halfback. And you've seen Newcastle go up to Brisbane and play well.
Mm-hmm.
And play well. So, they just got to put aside who they don't have, their main man being Patrick Carrigan, who leads the side in a lot of that stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
With attitude to defence, he produces great line speed. He's got huge work rate, lots of carries, lots of tackles, does a lot of the little things on the field really well. That helps all of his other teammates. He's not there for a further 2 games. Mm-hmm. So this one and the following week, which is against Storm, I think. I think it's against Melbourne. So they need to get on with business without Patrick Carrigan.
Mm-hmm. And they need to seriously, they don't have Kalen Ponga, so there is no excuse. There is no excuses whatsoever. So I'm hoping for a big response from the Brizzy boys.
And looking at, if they're looking big picture now, some clubs like to look look ahead. Maybe a few weeks, or some clubs don't. They just want to go game by game. For the Broncos, leading into the finals, great opportunity to just consolidate their finals berth, or maybe even a top 4 position, because they've got their next 3 matches are at home, Kempy.
Yeah,
they don't travel. They don't travel until the last round, where they go down and play the Dragons. So they got Newcastle at home, they've got Storm at home, and then they've got Parramatta at home.
Yeah, look, it's a good run. Like the fact that we've got all these games at home, especially if we do make the top 4. It'd be great to just get that comfortable feeling when you're playing at Suncorp. But just to Newey quickly. I know the season is over, but it's all about if, for example, like if you do like your coach, if you do like the head coaching staff as a player, I almost believe that they're playing for these guys' future. Like if you want this coach to still be there, if you really do get along with him and you believe he's the right guy going forward as a playing group, you need to turn up and play for him.
Yep.
Because they could be gone.
Absolutely.
And it's and you know, if you believe he is the guy to take you forward, that means it's your fault because
you've let him down.
You've let your coach down. So hopefully they can do that. And I thought the first half, at least the first 20 last week, the Knights played fantastically. Fantastic. It was just the second half, so many errors. But huge game for the Brizzy Broncos. Hopefully they get the job done. Now the Raiders versus the Dragons. Tarpane is out with a rib injury. Gula replaces him to start. Horsburgh joins the bench. Savage returns at fullback. Albert Hopewadi replaces Nick Kotrick on the wing, who was out with suspension. Dragons, Josh Maguire replaces the suspended Tarek Sims. Fui Mayono joins the bench. Michael Molo has been promoted to the starting side, replacing his brother Francis. How do you see this game playing out?
Tarpane, big out.
Huge out.
Big out. He's been so good for Canberra this year. So good. Although I like the return Savage to fullback from an ankle injury. I think Canberra.
Galvanised for Ricky?
I think Canberra. I think if there's any team outside the 8 right now that can finish finals bound, it's this team.
I mean, they got the team for it.
Yeah.
Got the team for it. I think that Canberra have a big game. I really do. I mean, I'd be surprised if they don't get up for Ricky. You know, they seem to really back Ricky. I mean, there was a period there where there seemed to be a bit of friction, but it seems like they've come back around and they're all getting along really well. I think they turn up for Ricky for sure.
Yeah. They I think so. I think so. Playing at home, St George, they've got Tarek Sims is out for the remainder of the year. He's been suspended 4 games. That's a huge out for them.
Did you think that was a send off or 10 in the bin?
Given, it's a difficult one because it wasn't a great look. The young fellow got stretched off. What did he get? He got 10 in the bin, didn't he?
Yeah, I agree with 10 in the bin, to be honest. I felt that although, he did full contact forceful, he did fall into it because he was getting chopped low.
I tell you why the argument starts whether it should be a send-off or a sin bin is because we're seeing now, like, because there's such a crackdown on high contact. When defenders almost like graze people across the face, they're getting put in the bin for 10 now, compared to that one where genuine contact and force. And although there was it wasn't reckless.
Yeah, it was mitigating circumstances.
Yeah, he goes to the bin. Okay, if it was just a one-on-one tackle and it was a classic swinging arm and cops him high and the same result where he goes down and gets stretched off, he gets sent easily.
Yeah, for sure.
Easily.
And he should.
I think that's where the argument starts and there's confusion is we've seen minimal contact with the head or the face or the neck from high contact this year and players go to the bin. Where the guy that gets hit high bounces straight up. But because it's high contact, that player sent to the sin bin. I think that's where the argument starts.
Yeah.
And the question's raised, well, okay, we're seeing minimal contact, players going to the bin, and no injury as a consequence of the high contact. Yet we have a guy stretchered off the field due to high contact, and the defending player only gets 10 to the bin as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Absolutely.
if you look at it from that way, Kempy, you're probably saying, well, he should have been sent off. But I'm with you. I think a sin bin was adequate.
And also, he's going to miss 4 weeks.
Yeah. Well, so that's where the punishment is.
Yeah.
I think we're getting a little bit confused where we think, we should match up what happens in the game to the MRC. The MRC are there for a reason. So they get a good look at it, and then they determine what the punishment is.
Yeah.
At the time, the referee had a look at it and goes, mate, high contact and forceful, you get 10 in the bin.
Yeah. No, I agree. Canberra Raiders, Dragons. Look, Dragons are in just a strange spot right now. 2 assistant coaches won't be there next year. James Graham also was moved on, so it said that his role wasn't. Now, he's not in the coaching staff. He has helped with coaching. He has helped with wrestling and the juniors. They're in an interesting spot, aren't they? Are they progressing, do you think? Or are they just, what's going on?
Well, not really. Not really. They're in a similar situation as the last year.
Yeah.
I think they've had some standout moments throughout the season, but I think in the end it's resulted. Well, it's got the same result as last year, where they're thereabouts, but not really. And they've just struggled for consistency this year. And it's always the conversation's always had about do you put the young blokes in and just keep them there? Like there's been a lot of chopping and changing this year, hasn't there, with the Dragons,
absolutely.
with their lineup.
Well, look, to be honest, I thought Sloan should have got a little bit longer, a little bit more of an opportunity to I guess, earn his spot. Now, I know Ramsey did eventually come in and play really well, but, I mean, Sloan was brought on the weekend, and you could just tell his confidence wasn't there.
Yep.
And so I guess, I'm a bit concerned about the Dragons. I don't think they've recruited as well as they maybe should have.
Yep.
Maybe there's no one on the market for them, I'm not sure, but I just think that this year, their recruitment seemed to be more of a stopgap of like, okay, we'll get some veterans in for a bit cheaper. But I thought that the plan after that would be then we go hard for some bigger names.
Yeah. Well, there's been news this week about possibly Andrew McCulloch retiring.
Yeah, which is interesting.
And then who were they saying? Was there a name tossed up about a possible replacement for him going into dummy half?
I don't think so.
There was someone, I forget. But yeah, there's another one.
And they've let go of guys of like Reece Robson, so, really interesting times for Dragons. Hopefully they can pull through. Now, we're going to head to a break. After the break, we're going to preview Gold Coast Titans versus a must-win game for the Manly Sea Eagles. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. Now, let's get straight into it, Smithy. We've got the Titans versus Manly. Aaron Clark returns at hooker after season-ending injury to Aaron Booth, sending our best wishes to Boothie.
Yes.
While Isaac Liu will start at lock. Manly, they have Sipley has been named to start at prop. Paseka sidelined by a knee injury. Josh Alayo returns from a knee injury on the bench, but Sean Kepi is still out with a shoulder injury. How do you see this game panning out?
Well, for half a game, I actually I thought Manly were going to win that match last week against Parramatta. So, I think they bounced back okay from the week where they were missing a host of players. Gold Coast Titans, huge blow, Aaron Booth. Now, I know they're not in finals contention, but I thought he's been one of their best players over the last month since he got his opportunity to play first grade with the Gold Coast. But Aaron Clark, he's played the majority of the season at hooker, so he goes back into that number 9 role. Isaac Liu, back to 13. Difficult one. I think Manly, if they play anywhere near their best footy, I think that will be too good for Gold Coast. But I don't know. What do you think the mindset would be of Manly right now? Are they thinking, results need to go our way, or are they thinking, hey, listen, let's just go and win, and whatever else happens?
I'm thinking they're looking at their draw, which is not too bad. I think they got one tough game. They're looking at the draw. They genuinely could win their last 4 games. So I think if they win their last 4 games, they not guarantee, because, the Broncos could go and win every game and blah, blah, blah. But they put themselves in really, really good stead. So I think Manly are going out thinking season's on the line. Every game, season's on the line.
Yeah, okay.
Every game. So I think Manly come out and win quite solidly.
Yeah, well, they have to, don't they? They really have to, and they have to be really, really careful. We got some breaking news here, and it's really sad news. The rugby league world is in mourning with the sudden death of premiership winning coach Paul Green. The 49-year-old passed away at his Brisbane home this morning, Thursday. A post-mortem will be carried out to determine the cause of his death. This is shocking news. Friends have revealed Green had not complained about being ill and have been left shocked and devastated by his passing.
Mate.
Well, that's shocking. Let's go to a break. If you're just tuning in, very sad part of the day. Breaking news, Paul Green, former North Queensland Cowboys coach, has passed away at the age of 49. It's certainly rocked myself and Kempy in the studio and everyone in the rugby league world. And Kempy, you had a little bit to do with Greenie.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough. He was my kick and catching coach when I was coming through at the Broncos, and he was also my coach when I was at Wynnum. a small amount to do with him, but in the time that I did, it was actually really interesting. The year that I was at Wynnum, I ended up signing with another club to leave, but we had a really tough start to the season, really tough, lost quite a few games. But Greeny managed to turn the Wynnum Seagulls around. They won the premiership that year, so he's a fighter. It's a very sad day, very, very sad day to see Greeny go like that.
Yep, sad news. Premiership coach, of course, with the North Queensland Cowboys in 2015. And, I think it's a sad day for everyone involved. The rugby league family, the rugby league community, and we send our best wishes and condolences out to the entire Green family. Follow up after the news. Julian King will have much more on this story, on the sad passing of Paul Green.